Welcome back to Cover Live. I'm Kim Alexander along with
Maggie Lenton.
For many college students, this semester is quickly coming to a close. So sad. Such is the case for our intern, Shakayla Maxey, a senior at Trinity College here in D.C. Kayla, you're growing wings. You're going to fly away. Kayla's joining us today to talk about her interview with author and publisher Tamika Newhouse. How was it?
It was great.
Yeah.
I spoke with Tamika Newhouse, author of the drama novel Between the Sheets, in mid-March. We talked about the two main characters, Jasmine and Dean, and about her publishing company, Delphine Publications. We began our conversation when I asked her about how she became an author.
Well, I get asked that a lot, and it's not something that I became. It's just something who I am. It's like people are born to act, some people are born to run, some people are born to sing. I was born to write. So I've been writing since I was about 8 years old, ever since, in the third grade. I started writing short stories, and I understood the basis of creating a story and putting my words and sentences together. I fell in love with creating stories. So it's just something I was just born to be.
So I have to ask you about the two characters in the book. It was really, Dawn and Jasmine, they really stood out to me because they were two independent women who had their, they had everything together, but they were stuck in love triangles. Was it Dawn? Was it Dean? But the love triangles, I don't know where they were coming from because you would think, these two independent women, they had everything going for themselves, but they let, relationships interfere with what they had going on.
Yeah, my thing is when I'm creating my characters, I don't want to write the predictable or what you expect to happen. Even the most successful and the most smart people make mistakes, or we have our weak moments, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. So when you look at these two characters, these two women who were best friends, successful, they didn't necessarily have to fight over a guy. Guys would, flock to them, and they fell for the same guy. And in this storyline, is the guy is the bad guy. And in real life, women tend to always be mad at the other woman. And I never quite understood that, especially when the other woman holds no purpose to, to keep a vow to you, to respect you, or, they hold no purpose to not break your heart. It's the guy that you're actually with. So with these characters, I didn't want to write what you wanted or what you would expect it. I always like to give the unexpected.
Say, for instance, the story with Dawn. Do you write from, your experiences, or do you just always write, let's say, a story you made up in your head or thought about maybe?
Now, there have been, you've heard the saying that you talk about what you know, right, and things like that, or you write about what you experience, what you've seen. It's hard to sometimes, I can't go and write a book about street life, right, or, because I've never experienced that. I've never, been on the streets where I've experienced a drug game and, witnessed a murder and things like that. But because I'm so creative, I'm so creative, and at heart, I'm a visionary. I can create scenes and stories in my head as if I was actually there. I want to say since about 10 or 11 or whatever, I would purposely lay in my bed, cut on some music, and I would just dream. I would create movies in my head. And it's just something I've just been doing ever since I can remember. I can create a scene, I can create a situation and make it seem like I was exactly there. So when it comes to a lot of instances in my book, because I started writing so very young at heart, I created it. I made it up. But now growing older and, I'm all of 26, and I have experienced a little something, not too much, but a little something, and I can adapt some things from what I experienced, and I can embellish it a little bit.
What made you decide to do short stories in the book? I mean, they were short stories, but some of them kind of continued with, other authors that contributed to it, or this is just what happened?
Well, it was my plan to put these stories in a compilation like that, to create these short stories, and I all wanted them to be erotic and sexual and romantic based. Hence, the name of the book is called Between the Sheets. So everything that happens between the sheets, everything that's affected after what happens between the sheets, I wanted stories to reflect that, either being romantic, thriller, erotic, whatever the case may be, it had to be sexually based. And I wanted to do that to not only highlight my talents as well as other writers, but just to have different perspectives of what erotica truly is. It doesn't have to be porn on paper. Right. You can actually have some substance, to the stories.
Yeah, because I will say that usually I don't always read a book. They have to, catch my attention. But your book, I've been reading it and I reread it and it caught my attention. And I just really want to compliment you on your work.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So I have to go back to Jasmine. I could not believe that Dean cheated on her. I will say that I was shocked. I mean, it started from, the beginning, him cheating on her, and then we went to how they met. So I was just really, surprised. I mean, I understood that he was successful, and sometimes successful people, they have, better opportunities. So he had that going on, but I was just really hurt in the beginning that he did, he cheated on her.
I mean, okay, so in this instance, because I've written various stories where the woman is the cheater.
Right.
But in this instance, the guy is the cheater. The guy is definitely doing the betraying. We give it to you in the beginning, then I turn around and give you some substance on how we got there. Mm-hmm. I like to do that sometimes. Like, I like to go ahead and give you the whole, the ultimate ending and how these characters ultimately end. But then learning that information has no substance or holds no bearing on your heart when you don't know the characters. So now you go back, and it intrigues you to read more into these characters' lives to figure out how in the world did they end up here.
Yes.
So sometimes I like to do that to kind of play with the reader's emotions and get them intrigued and things like that, because there are a lot of things that will lead you up into the ultimate ending of pretty much their destiny. And with the guy cheating at the very beginning, of course, us ladies like to say, oh, that's what guys do. They do that all the time. I mean, it's not a guy thing, it's not a girl thing. It's a human thing.
Right.
We all falter and we all make those mistakes. It's just that men do it so sloppy sometimes. And then sometimes they don't know how to separate the different circles. Sometimes you have to go, if you're going to do your dirt, do it off somewhere where nobody know each other, Yeah. I like to say that men are one-track minded, in my opinion. And men don't understand that they can be trainable, in my opinion, because they don't necessarily know how to multitask and, how to be creative with the dirt and things like that. And so sometimes when I write about my female characters who are the cheaters in this instance, then I make it where they're so kind of unique with the way that they do it that they never get caught. Or, I leave, it takes a long time for them to get caught, or they ultimately just walk away and, want to do something else, So with this character, it was definitely interesting, I would have to say.
Yeah, it really was, because like you said, you basically gave us the juice before we, learned how they met. And actually, when I was reading it, when I saw how he basically wooed her and pursued her in the story, I, to myself, was thinking, that could never happen. When you're writing, do you, is your goal to embellish? Because I couldn't see myself meeting a stranger and they would do all these things for me, pay for my hotel or just woo me. Like, I couldn't see that happening.
When I do write, I do embellish. And you will be surprised, because I have some friends, I have associates and things like that, and I witness sometimes what guys would do for women when they want to woo them, when they want to get to know them, when they want to get them in bed, things like that. You'd be surprised how a lot of times women don't even necessarily have to get into bed with these men for them to spend money or for them to spend time at dinner, things like that. They necessarily don't have to do much of anything. So with those situations, the reader may have not experienced it or witnessed it themselves to say, oh, this would never happen. But in some cases, yes, it is possible. It's definitely possible for these certain situations to happen. But again, as I said, I never want to give what you expect. I always want to give you something different.
Did you distribute this book through your publishing company?
Yes, I actually did. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about your publishing company?
Delphine Publications is a company I started when I was 21 years old. I started with the book, The Ultimate No-No. I wrote this book when I was 20 after I was pretty much healing from the death of my mother. Writing has always been like that therapy for me. So I was able to escape my world that was kind of messed up at that moment and write The Ultimate No-No, not knowing that my heartache was going to be the foundation and beginning of something bigger and better. And so now I have 12 authors under Delphine. We have 25 titles. By the end of the year, it should be a little over 30 titles that we'll have out. It's really fun for me. It's not work. I would say it's really fun for me to help mold other artists such as myself, because I work with each author closely and individually, work on their individual brands, working in book tours, their promotions, things like that. We travel together, we promote together. We do a lot of things together, and I do that, and we work together as a family because it is a reflection of my mother, whom the company is named after. And because the company is named after my mother, everything that I do under this name and under this entity has to reflect who she was as a person, because I'm her legacy and this is her legacy. So everyone that comes up under this umbrella has to be a genuine and good reflection of my mission and what it is that I'm aiming to do.
How many books do you have out right now?
I currently have 8. My 8th book just came out this past Tuesday.
That's great. So do you solely focus when you're writing on the drama? Because I know you said you don't like to call them romance novels.
Right, I do not.
And why is that?
Because when you take romance, people have this perception of, oh, it's a boy meets girl or girl meets boy storyline, and they fall in love and they go off to live happily ever after. But I do not write predictable romance at all. I write about what it takes to fall in love and what it takes to stay in love. And usually it takes a lot of scratching and fighting and pulling teeth, and, it takes a lot of work, and so sometimes finding that perfect person that's kind of equally yoked to you, that's your yin to your yang, you're his Eve to your Adam, like, to find that person, sometimes it takes a lot. You have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince. And so I like to take my readers through that whole process into these character stories, not only for them to see what it takes to have a relationship, but also to entertain them at the same realm. So I simply just call it drama. And I write about love. So I don't like to label it as romance, just as I don't like to label some books urban, because some people take the word urban and they relate it to, like, the ghetto. And that's exactly not what it is. If you go and look up the word urban, that's almost the complete opposite of what the standard dictionary is of it. It just means a big city. Mm. It's kind of like stereotypes. So I definitely don't like to just say romance. I said, let's write about drama, girl. Just drama, And if it's a guy, I'll say, I write about everything that you do wrong. I just do that. And I get a good laugh off of the guys, and it gets them more interested. And, because they expect for us ladies not to know. So I'll be telling the guys, you guys are really simple-minded. It's really not that hard to pick you guys' brains. So I just write drama.
So can you tell me what you'll be up to next? Are you touring or anything like that?
Yes. So you know how March Madness is based around college basketball. Well, every year my March Madness is built around multiple book releases and multiple appearances. Every weekend this month, I am in a different city promoting my books, speaking, touring, and my company itself has 3 books that's releasing this month. So I'm just constantly touring, constantly writing. I'm going to be prepping to release my 9th book, hopefully late May. And I'm just going forward, just keep going. There's a lot of stuff that I'm doing. I'm just really, really busy.
Where can readers pick up your books?
You can go just about anywhere to get my book. Just say my name, Tamika Newhouse, like Barnes & Nobles, Amazon.com, Books.com, Target.com, Walmart.com. They're on any e-reader you can think of, on your phones, on your iPads, iTunes. Just about anywhere I'm there. Just type in my name, and you should be able to search me. Like, hopefully you guys, be very well entertained, just like Miss Nicola here. I'm hoping so.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, if you had to describe your book in either one word or a complete sentence, what would it be?
Describe my book. Besides the drama, I would say realistic relationships. That's what I would say. Realistic relationships. Oh, and showing you what you should not do in a relationship.
Yeah, it's definitely taught me that.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Besides your tour, what's next for you, and how can people reach you, online or Twitter or anything?
Yes. Besides for my current tour, I am prepping to do a huge events, media, and events weekend during the Essence Music Festival in New Orleans. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that I have planning going on, you can follow me on Twitter at Tamika Newhouse. And my Newhouse is spelled like I bought $1 million new house. My Instagram is Boss Lady Tamika. My Facebook is Tamika Newhouse. My website is Tamika Newhouse. Everything is Tamika Newhouse, so it should be really easy to find me. And I also have a lifestyle blog. It's called The Passionate Spot. So you can find me on that blog about just anything you can think of, from reality TV to weight loss to food to music, all at thepassionatespot.com.
That was Tamika Newhouse, author of Between the Sheets. You can meet her in person at this year's Essence Music Festival in New Orleans, which will take place July 4th through the 7th. To keep up with Tamika's other appearances and work, visit her website at tamikanewhouse.com.
Congratulations, it's over. You can relax now.
Thank you.
That girl is nervous.
She's nervous.